Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of the season 2 of Buzzing with Barca. This episode aired a few days later because some of us were busy. We're sorry for the delay, but we're happy to have you, and I hope you guys will enjoy this episode. We have a lot of good topics to cover today, but sadly, we're going to begin with our first topic, which is the topic of the day, the Bayern loss in the Champions League. I have with me Pulkit and Thomas, our usual members. So, what's it going with you two today? Thomas, how are you?
I'm actually really good, I'm actually starting holidays. I've got a small 2 week break. So yeah, I'm gonna be a bit less busier than usual. Yeah. How are you, Pulkit?
I'm good, Thomas. Good, Sagnik. I'm gonna probably release my next song this evening. As you know, I'm a musician also, so hoping for that to go well. And otherwise, things are fine. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, definitely don't forget to check out his channel. And yeah, we're just gonna hop on. We lost 3-0 loss to Bayern Munich, our first ever match in the Champions League. Yes, it wasn't unexpected. We did expect a two-goal margin at the most, but a three-goal margin without us even scoring one goal was a little bit disappointing. But as soon as the match started, as soon as we saw the dynamics, we really saw what the setbacks were. But unfortunately, Koeman didn't. The people blamed a lot on the midfielders mostly, and even Alba. But sadly, Alba, first of all, he wasn't very fit. He wasn't at his 100%. He still played. And yeah, many people were saying on Twitter also that if a player isn't 100% fit, why play him in a Champions League game? Furthermore, every match, even against Athletic Bilbao, the only thing that we advanced, made attacking progress, it was just Alba putting in a cross from the left. And every time he did that in the Bayern game, they anticipated it. And Bayern's defense, of course, it has very, very good players. Sule, Upamenkao, and all of them anticipated them easily. So we couldn't really convert anything. Plus, Luke de Jong was a little bit slower, a little bit sluggish, and he couldn't really go in place to receive all the crosses and passes. Even Memphis had created a good chance, passed to Luke de Jong in the penalty box, but he wasn't fast enough to get it. So yeah, there were several factors which contributed to us having a collective result of 0 goals in attack. But yes, I would like to give Pulkit the chance first to go ahead and talk a bit more about the game.
Yeah, so of course, an unexpected loss. I think Sagnik, you and I were the only ones who were a bit optimistic of Barca getting moving to stretch there out there, maybe. But as you mentioned that in the previous two games we had only the attack only was coming from the left side. The reason partly for that is that we don't have a natural right winger playing for us, and you know my Demir bias, don't you? And he should have started the game. Of course, we saw in the last 10-15 minutes or so in the game that we kind of were playing a little better than we were in the first half when Coutinho, Demir, Gavi, Balde, all of these people came on, and we were playing a 4-3-3. We did not have a back three, although we saw Busquets dropping back a little bit to make it a back three from time to time. But we were playing a little better, and we had a better kind of width also. We had more attacking prowess within us. It was Gavi playing so maturely. He's 16, almost, I think he's 17 now. But so we could have started the game in that manner, playing Demir on the right, maybe starting with Gavi, or maybe starting with a 4-3-3 formation. But we didn't, and we had to pay the price for it. And the way we lost, of course, it was very, very embarrassing. And I hope we can change the things now. What do you think, Thomas, about the game?
Well, I do agree with a lot of stuff you're saying about the no natural right wingers, but yeah, it is pretty embarrassing how we did lose, and we played a very dull football defensively. Koeman didn't really instill any real mentality in there. It was just defend and no attack. where like we had that front two of just Luke De Jong, who was really really slow, and we couldn't really do much with him in the attack because sometimes you just put the ball through to him, but Upamecano and Sula would already be there, and there was also a chance where we did see ball played through to Luke, but Pavard got to it first, just showing how slow Luke is, and obviously it's not really like his fault because but yeah, when we're playing counter attack, our main attacking source is counter attacking if we're playing in 3-5-2 or by the wings with Jordi Alba. And if we're playing counter attacking, we cannot use Luke De Jong in there. And obviously, we did see Memphis actually drop deep down into the midfield to create chances, but that didn't really nothing really happened through that other than him having to pass obviously to Sergio Roberto, which wouldn't really do much in there. And I'll start talking about the goals. So how we gave Thomas Muller way too much space when he scored the first goal, and I don't think we should have actually given him that much because I don't think a team like an actual sensible team would not really leave that much space open for a player to shoot from there, and obviously deflected off Eric Garcia, and he turned his back into there where I think he should have just actually tried to get to the ball and block it while actually looking at it, because if you turn around you don't know where the ball's going to go, so you can't control it. And I think it was a preventable shot by actually pressing Thomas Muller, and also if Eric Garcia actually didn't turn around. And for the second goal, it was off the crossbar from the sidebar of a Musiala shot, I'm pretty sure, and Lewandowski got to it first before Araujo. And and for the third goal, it was also another sidebar chance miss from Bayern, and obviously PK did go to the PK tackled really quickly early, and then Lewandowski got to it, and then he scored. And obviously in that situation, I think Alejandro Balde and also Araujo could have. They were both on the. I think Balde was he was more on the line when he shouldn't have really been on the line, because Ter Stegen was already covering that area while Balde was just on the left. He didn't really need to be there, but obviously it's his first game for Barcelona, so it's not really his fault, but it's something you can mistake and could improve on. And also Araujo, I think there's no it's better to pressure rather than just staying on the line when there's no one really out there. So I think Araujo could have gotten off the line earlier. And yeah, I think that's really my takes on it, on the game. So turn back to you, Sagnik.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. The defenders were well composed for the most part, but when you have a tactic which is just defend against one after the other onslaughts by a team like Bayern, who are even stronger, some people are saying, under Julian Nagelsmann. But yes, for the most part, the defenders did well, but repeated onslaughts like that without any real counter-attacking other than from the fullbacks, Jordi Alba and Sergio Roberto, which was very well anticipated. You can't really expect any defense in the world to hold up for 90 minutes, is there? Plus, there was also a little bit stroke of luck in the goals of Bayern Munich, but that is not an excuse at all for Barcelona for not even scoring one goal. And Pulkit, as you said, that we even in our previous podcast episodes, we told that we will have problems in the wings, because up front Sergio Roberto had no one to pass to. If Demir was on the field, then he would have had someone to pass to. We didn't really create with the midfield, which is one of the best midfields in Europe, Pedri, Busquets and Frankie de Jong. The main purpose they served was to just shuffle the ball to create some space and to pass it on to the wings from where the attack came. And you know very well that in the wings we only had Jordi Alba. So it was very well anticipated by Bayern. Koeman showed no creativity, so we can't really blame any single player. So yes, it was pretty a pretty dull game of football from our part, and we didn't even fix the mistakes we made in the first half. In the second half, the only good changes that came were after Alba was injured and taken off. It was out of compulsion, not really Koeman's real idea. Alejandro Balde, bring him on. Remember, Pulkit, we said it in the previous episode that it would be a good chance to bring on Alejandro Balde if Alba wasn't at his 100%, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and even in our live match watch along, most of the things we predicted came true, right? And
Yeah.
even in the halftime analysis, if you guys didn't join us, do it at least the halftime analysis. We put up vizzes and everything, graphs, pass maps, all that. We analyzed it. And yes, they weren't really hard things to fix for Koeman. The mistakes, the drawbacks we had, our squad had, it was very easy to be fixed, and yet the only changes that came from Koeman were under compulsion. And speaking about Koeman so much, it is our next topic. It's Koeman's leadership. Well, if you can call it that. Well, first of all, he's had some allegations from players like Pjanic, who after going to another team, the Beşiktaş, he said that Ronald Koeman didn't even watch him at trainings. He tried his level best to be noticed by Ronald Koeman and to be played in the first team, but apparently he had some sort of agenda, and there were a particular group of players he wouldn't even watch train. So Pjanic was really heartbroken from that, and the thing which we'll discuss today at length is what he said post-match about Mingueza and Roberto. He blatantly said that Mingueza and Roberto against Alphonso Davies wasn't a competition, and especially for a young player like Mingueza who has all the potential in the world. Koeman outright said that Mingueza isn't as good as Alphonso Davies, and that in my eyes he just said that to defend himself. And I don't think any coach should outright say that, especially about such a young player. He should provide him with confidence, not really, how do I say, not really outright compare and call him a worse player than another particular player who is at his prime. So yes, many people are saying that what he said is right, but the way he said it isn't. But it is very debatable, and that's what we'll talk about today. So Pulkit, what are your views on this?
Well, a manager has to back his player, no matter what his form is, no matter how bad he plays, how good he is, no matter if he gets injured, if he makes mistakes on the pitch, whatever happens. You see a lot of managers throw their players under the bus. You see a lot of managers protect their players in the press conferences, so that the confidence remains, the confidence increases, and the manager has to believe in his players. And if, of course, he knows that Alphonso Davies is better than Mingueza. He knows that. They two are not in the same league. There's no competition, but he has to motivate the players to try harder, to get to that level. He is a young player. He's from La Masia. There are already a lot of expectations, and we know how Mingueza came out last season out of thin air. We didn't even know Mingueza. He did not play well for the Barca B team, as it's mentioned last year also. But he was forced to start because we had no options, and he played so well. And we, just it was a blessing for us, Mingueza coming in, and to treat him this way, it's utterly disrespectful. Of course, with Pjanic also, you cannot. I get that he was not one of the players that Koeman wanted, because of course it was he came before when Bartomeu was there, T.S. Etienne was there when Artur Pjanic deal took place, the swap deal, that weird swap deal, and. I get that he was not in Koeman's plans, but the manager should have said that, okay, you're not in my plans and you should look for a new club, and you would have gone by January only. You shouldn't have to wait till the summer, rather after the transfer window closed, where for most of the countries, but for the Turkish and Russian countries, it was still open. Then he was. Then he kind of found a club for himself. So that shouldn't have happened in the first place. But coming back to the Mingueza point, Koeman should not have said that. It was utterly disrespectful. It was a shambolic statement. You have to back the players. We talk about mentality. When Valverde used to say it is what it is. Koeman says this is what we have to offer. Luis Enrique said before the PSG game, that famous comeback, La Remontada. that if they can score one, we will score six, and look at what happened. It's all about the mentality. So I would say Koeman did a very bad thing. The way he should have been more mindful in his communication. What do you think, Thomas?
I obviously agree with that. I don't think he's a good coach. Good coaches are more they motivate their players, uplift their players, and Koeman is not showing any kind of proof of that.
Yeah, he
He's
isn't a
just
good man manager. He isn't a good
yeah
man manager.
yeah
Yeah.
and yeah, he's just showing that between obviously Pjanic and obviously Ricky Puig as well, which is a very visible thing you can see. Not including him, even though his talent is there, and in this obviously Pedri is injured, so in this upcoming game against Granada, I hope to see Ricky Puig actually start. If he doesn't, this is actually some kind of agenda. If he starts Sergio Roberto instead of Ricky Puig, and yeah, I think it is. He's not really that competent.
But Laporta did have something to say about these. Even today, Laporta talked and said some things about Dani Olmo, Paul Pogba, and Erling Haaland. He said that Dani Olmo will be his objective the next transfer window. Paul Pogba is also an option, and Haaland would be the dream. But a few days ago, he said a few things, primarily about Koeman, which we are going to talk about today. So, Pulkit, why don't you start with this?
Yeah, so a few days back, of course, after the Bayern game, Koeman received a lot of stick from the media, the fans, everything that he should leave, he's a conservative coach and whatever. And there was a board meeting after the game. Laporta stayed back at the camp now, along with Matthew Elmeni and the other board members and stuff. And they've decided, or rather discussed, about Koeman's future. And some board members wanted him to leave right away. Some wanted him to give some time because there are players who are coming back from injury, with Fati coming in probably against Levante. Of course, Dembele, Aguero, all these players will be coming in at the end of October or the start of November or something like that. So some board members want Koeman to have some time, evaluate the situation once they have enough sample size and then make a decision. So for now, the decision is that Koeman has been given the next 3-4 games to alter the situation, to play 4-3-3 attacking football, high pressing modern day football, to start the players in the right position. Maybe we see, like Thomas said, Ricky Puig play tonight, tomorrow night. Maybe we do see a 4-3-3. Maybe we do see Demir start. Maybe we do see Barca playing better. Of course, it remains to be seen. So we'll see about that, what happens. So that was what was decided, and we'll evaluate the situation and then make a decision regarding the Olmo, Haaland, Pogba situation. Of course, there was also news that Olmo has already agreed on a 5-year contract with the club. Not sure how true is that, but of course he's from La Masia, he's one of our own, so he'll definitely fit, and for the right price. Let's see if we can get him in Jan. Of course, January transfer window is rather more expensive than the summer one, and Leipzig are not an easy club to negotiate with. They're pretty stubborn about their players, and so we'll see what happens. Regarding Pogba, of course, he's a good player. He'll be a good addition to the club, to the team, and although we are really stacked with midfielders, but we'll see. And Haaland, of course, is everyone's dream because Laporta is known for making statements. So he can, if someone can make a statement in the transfer market, it is Joan Laporta, with his charisma and his good relationship with Raiola and his kind of aura altogether. What do you think, Thomas?
Well, talking about Koeman, how he's given 3 to 4 matches for to make a decision regarding his future. I think the next game, for example, if we lose against Granada, I think it should be I think Granada in the next game, I think it should be written that he should be sacked, because even though I don't really like the idea of sacking managers mid-season through, if we're going to continue this way, I don't think it's really good. I don't think it's a good idea to keep a manager that that's just dragging us down and not actually fulfilling or following what is required to actually stay as a manager. Like, for example, like this is highly unlikely, but if he doesn't really like choose the right players, and as I did mention before about like if he doesn't play like the youth, I think Balde should be given a chance, and I think Roberto should be benched. Well, other players like, for example, I think he should like Roberto. He should make the right decisions in choosing players rather than like suiting and benching players like suited to his agenda. So I think that should be fixed with him, and I think we'll see in the next couple of games. So back to you, Sagnik.
Yeah, as you said that if we lose against Granada, it is a big enough statement that Ronald Koeman isn't well equipped tactical wise to coach Barcelona. But as Pulkit said, that the club socios and the members of the club want to give Koeman a long enough chance to see if he can improve with the presence of players like Fati, Aguero, and Dembele. But just in case we do sack him, our next topic is who can be the possible replacement. Right now, as of recording the podcast, there's some fresh news about 3 or 4 minutes ago. News given by Xavi Hernandez Navarro that the candidates to replace Koeman in case he is dismissed are Albert Capellas, the only option currently available at the club, Xavi Hernandez, Roberto Martinez with Thierry Henry as his assistant, and Eric Ten Hag. So we're gonna discuss about who we think is gonna be the best fit. So Pulkit, what's your opinion?
Well, sacking a manager mid-season, we saw how it worked during the Valverde Setien era, didn't we? And I agree with Thomas that we should not be going down this path because it's never good for the club, because already we are in a transition period. Sacking, of course, Koeman, we all can agree. I think that he's not the right man for the job. But when you're in transition and you're already dealing with a coach who is adapting to the whole situation, and then you change a coach mid-season, it's a recipe for disaster. Having said that, Roberto Martinez, of course, will not be available before the World Cup, which is December 2022. So he will not be basically available until 2023. Xavi Hernandez, I'm not sure whether the clause still exists in his contract that he can leave for Barcelona anytime he wants, but I don't think he also will be able to leave his club mid-season. I don't know what the Qatar League or how it's structured and when will it end. And Eric Ten Hag also, Ajax will not be able to release their manager mid-season because he's a great manager. And I don't think he'll come. Of course, the best option for us is either of the three. I can go with either of the three. I can't choose how much. I would rather, because Xavi is inexperienced, I would rather have either Roberto Martinez because he's highly experienced, heavily experienced, or have Ten Hag because he fits the philosophy completely, in my opinion. What do you think, Thomas?
Well, obviously, my opinion is this is not like in the news right yet, or I don't think Barcelona will be considering his name. But it's going to be Garcia Pimenta, who was the ex-Barca B manager for last season, and I think he is crucial in the development of our youngsters like Gavi, like Ricky Puig, like Collado, all of our other young players. I think it's important that he should be there for us, at least assistant, or he should be in our staff if we do want to appoint him. And I think he would be perfect for the head coach. Players like he would rely on youth more, and he does play good football as like 4-3-3 and like attacking football. But obviously you're playing in the Barca B and like there's probably like better teams there, and he didn't really get the results that that you would want to get, but he does play really good football, and give him a good squad, and I do think he'll give you the results. And I don't think he will play like players like Roberto every single day, and I don't think he wouldn't really have agenda towards players like Koeman. Yeah, I think he is more of our coach, but obviously Albert Capellas is also one of our options, who is the current academy manager of Barcelona. So I'm not really sure about much about him. So yeah, also Roberto Martinez in 2023, and I'm not really sure about him because he failed to win with Belgium's golden generation, which is another thing to talk about. But yeah, I think he is a good coach. Also, Erik ten Hag, who is the current Ajax manager, I think he plays wonderful football. And cannot forget the Ajax run he made in 2019, which I think was simply wonderful. And he had a really good Ajax squad. A lot of good youngsters, which is another thing that is one of our most important things of Barcelona right now is youngsters. So I think he will be good for that as well. And obviously Xavi Hernandez. I do like the idea, but I think it's a bit too early for Xavi to come in here, and obviously mid-season for these
I think
managers.
for the emotional fans, for the fans who are emotional, it's very good. Xavi coming in. I mean, they see like a pep kind of thing happening again.
Yeah.
Of course, that would happen. It's unrealistic, but there are emotions attached to this kind of arrangement. Yeah.
But in my concluding of the coach discussion.
On to the next topic, Fati and Dembele return. Fati is supposed to return soon against the Levante match, and Dembele will return too after the next international break. So, what do you guys think? How will it impact Koeman? You think he will improvise on it? Because last season he did use Dembele. When the short time he did use Dembele, I think he used him properly. And the only downsides which came were from Dembele's own lack of finishing capabilities. So, what do you guys think? Will it impact Koeman in a positive way? Will it be able to prevent his sacking? So, yeah, Pulkit, we'll start with you.
So, with Fati, of course, start with, I think we've forgotten how good Fati is because we haven't seen him for so long, right? And he's just a joy to watch. So, really, really looking forward to seeing him play. Of course, he'll be eased back into the team. I think he'll play a few minutes, maybe final 10-15 minutes against Levante next weekend. And then, of course, he'll be eased into it. With Dembele, it's a conundrum, isn't it? Because he plays a few games and he gets injured, and as you mentioned, he's inconsistent on the pitch. He lacks finishing, he lacks ball control because of his pace and everything. And because I have a Demi bias within me, so I would actually seeing Demi play. He's so mature. He has ball control. He has pace control. He runs in behind. He looks for the runs. He tracks back to defend. He cuts through the defense very well. I think I still would rate Dembele a little higher. I think I'll get a stick from the fans because I'm being a little harsh on Dembele, which I am. But I still rate Dembele a little higher because I've seen him play a little better, and I think I haven't seen Dembele play for a while. So I would rather have Dembele ahead of Dembele. But Dembele brings a lot to the pitch, of course, and I hope that this time he can be consistent and not get injured. Because if he is inconsistent or gets injured this time, I think he'll be sold in the next transfer window. What do you think, Thomas?
Well, I think these two players coming back would 100% benefit Koeman because Koeman rates them highly, and obviously Dembele, he said many times that Dembele is very important to him, and I think I'm pretty sure Koeman would play him on the right hand side this year. Like last season as well. It would bring more width and pace on the right hand side. We get more speed that we were missing a bit. So I think that is important in Dembele that we get. Fati there's no need to talk much about Fati because we know who he is and what he is. So I think he would 100% save Koeman's job if Koeman is actually if he's actually doing anything serious this time. So yeah. That's all I got to say about Fati and Dembele returning. So I'll return back to you.
Yeah, like any world-class coach or any coach at all would love to have a player of Dembele's profile in his team. Thomas Tuchel, in a previous interview, was asked who was the most talented player he had ever coached. He said Ousmane Dembele in a heartbeat, and even Koeman rates him highly. We saw him use Dembele a lot when he was available. So yes, both Dembele will definitely fit into the right wing position, and maybe give maybe alternate with Demir in matches, so as to not directly give him a full time pressure. Maybe he will play halves because he is injury prone, and we don't want him back in the hospital again. And when Fati comes back, we will have Fati, Memphis, and Dembele front three. But here is where it comes with Koeman. We all know his bias, his Dutch bias. If we see that even after having Memphis, Fati, and Dembele, he still plays Luke de Jong over any one of them, then we'll know that this man is too far gone. Because of course his agendas are just too strong, and Luke de Jong, all fans would agree, he was bought in place of Griezmann, not as a direct replacement for him to play on the field, but because a player with Griezmann's wages on the bench would look worse than a player with Luke de Jong's wages on the bench. That's what Luke de Jong was brought for. Not really a first team starter player. He sadly doesn't have that much of skills or prowess. But yes, he is a solid backup. But if we see that Koeman starts him over any of those three when all three of them are available, that will say a lot about him. So that's what I have to say. Moving on to another one of the players whom Koeman supports very much, who Koeman uses a lot, Sergio Roberto, but the fan base really hates. Sergio Roberto cried on the night of Bayern versus Barcelona in the dressing room. Koeman and PK both defended him by saying that he didn't have anyone to pass in the front. Plus, his performance wasn't really that bad in my opinion. We even held a poll on the Instagram page in which majority of the fans voted that the treatment of the other fans towards Roberto whistling at him was very unjustified and too reactionary, because in my eyes he didn't even have a bad match. I would even go on to say he had a good performance, not really in the defense but in progression. I think he was one of the best players we had on the field. But yes, what do you guys have to say? Thomas, we'll start with you.
I would like to disagree with saying he had a good performance. I think he had I wouldn't say good, I wouldn't say average. I think he had like a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 performance. Nothing impressive. But yeah, I think the fan treatment, I think it was more related to his contract situation rather than his performance. But I think it could be both of them. But I think either way, the fans should not actually do that, because he is still our player. And I think as Barcelona fans, we should actually be more supportive of our players, regardless of what they are and what what the situation is. And we have to be more supportive, because this just kind of just brings down the confidence, just like what Koeman did to in that interview with Mingueza and Sergio Roberto. So I think it's not really a good thing, and it gives a bad image of Barcelona. What the fans are doing there. So yeah, that's my opinion. So I want to see what Pulkit wants to say about it.
Well, the treatment was harsh, of course. Shouldn't have done that. I think it was more of for not just the performance, but regarding the wage cut also, because he still hasn't taken one, although he's very close to taking one. The agreement is yet to be finalized. So I think it was a combination of the two, and like PK defended him that right back is not his natural position, but he still plays there. And like I agree with the two of you, he had decent performance, and the treatment was rather harsh. It shouldn't have happened. Yeah.
So yes, and Koeman really didn't have much choice other than to defend Roberto, because he has stuck with him for a long time. And though I personally believe that right back is of course not his position, so Dest was out, Koeman really didn't have much of a choice, and Roberto didn't even perform bad. Even under normal circumstances, if he dropped that performance, it would be completely unjustified. But we're going to move on to the next topic about the injuries we have sustained after the Bayern match. It's Pedri, one of our most a total workhorse. Pedri, he is out with a muscular injury in his quadriceps. It's on his left thigh, and he will be out for around 10-12 days as of recording this podcast. And as for Jordi Alba, he has a femoral biceps injury in his right thigh. He will be out for 3 or 4 weeks. So, what it translates to, what changes we could see in the squad. Let's start with you, Pulkit.
Well, Pedri, child labor, right? So good for him to rest for a couple of weeks around that time. And Alba, of course, he's aging and he is already more prone to injury than others. And of course, we'll move on to the Granada game after this. But I really just basing it on a few minutes of performance. I would really love for Balde to start for the Granada game, and until Alba comes back, to give him that game time and really give him that chance to really establish himself as the successor to Alba, because we all know that fullbacks is in the transfer market. There aren't any good fullbacks. It's very hard to get fullbacks these days, and having already sold Kukurea, Juan Miranda, and all these, so we don't have much of a choice. And we saw how good Balde is. We've seen for Barca B, and we have seen against Bayern also. He has tons of pace. He understands how to play, and he has shown good quality, and I think he can maintain that. So would love to see him. And I still think, because it's Koeman, in place of Pedri, he will not play Pooch. We all know that.
No,
That is the
definitely not.
dream.
Definitely not. No.
Like Thomas also was saying earlier that he hopes to see Pooch in the starting lineup, but as long as Koeman is in charge, I don't think we'll be able to see that. We just saw that Nico has been called up for the B team, but Gavi hasn't for tomorrow's game. So Gavi, I think, will get start ahead of Pooch, and we might also see Coutinho in that position, just behind the striker. So we're really hoping to see Pooch and Balde. That's the dream, to start in place of Pedri and Alba. But I think we'll see Gavi and Balde realistically. So yeah, what do you think, Thomas?
Well, I think Pedri's injury, it's not good for us. But yeah, 3 to 4 weeks out does hit us, but also opens up a lot of possibilities for other midfield talents to shine and jump in to his place, even though I think it's unlikely that they would take his place, but we would be seeing extended minutes to players like Gavi, and especially Gavi. I think is going to be excellent if he gets his minutes. I hope he does start, as well as Pooch, or even Nico, but I think Nico's more of a defensive midfielder. But yeah, and obviously Alba's injury, it's going to be out for a significant amount of time. I think Balde should start, and I think he will. I think Koeman is impressed with Balde playing. Obviously, he did play him in that Bayern match, so I think it shows enough that I think Koeman would be starting him in the match against Granada. Otherwise, we could be seeing maybe Dest at left back, which he did try last season, and probably might be playing Roberto at right back, even though Roberto he wants to play as a midfielder. So go back to you, Saknik.
Yeah, as for me, I pretty much agree with what the two of you said. We are gonna move on to our Granada match lineup predictions and score predictions. Sport reported earlier that we might see a front three of Coutinho, Memphis, and Luke De Jong in the match, which, in my opinion, is not good viewing from at any angle. What wouldn't I give for Demir to start? And maybe I wouldn't be against Luke De Jong starting against Granada, because number one, Granada isn't really that strong of a team, and he does need minutes to slot into the team. Luke De Jong looked very tired in the Bayern match from the 10th minute itself, so maybe he was very fatigued that match to begin with. So he does deserve another chance to try and slot into the team, to fit into the philosophy, the movement, We must give it to him. Maybe not full time, but yes, he does deserve some minutes. As for Coutinho, I would not like him at left wing at all. He maybe as a central attacking midfielder. If Koeman said that he has big plans for Coutinho this season, right? So maybe he will think of something with Coutinho. Maybe he has some plans for him. So yes, in my opinion, I for the lineup, I think we're gonna see Balde at left back because he did impress last match, and 4-3-3 formation, definitely a standard defense of Araujo, PK, maybe Garcia subbed in. At right back, I'm not really sure who it will be. Maybe Dest. He's probably fit, right? Maybe Dest will start at right back. As for the midfield,
He completed the training. Yeah.
yeah, he's. I think Dest will start at right back, and Busquets, Frankie De Jong, and as for the replacement for Pedri, it could be Gavi or Puig. I don't think Puig will start, but it would be a good call to start him. But yes, it will be Gavi, I think, and for the front three, I think it will be Memphis, Luke De Jong for some time at least, and Yusuf Demir. And also, I think if Coutinho has to be played, maybe he is subbed on for Gavi later on in the game. So Pulkit and the scoreline, I think we will be able to keep a clean sheet against Granada. I will go ballsy and say we're going to win 3-0. So Pulkit, what about you?
Good one. I would say the score line would be for me 2-0. And the lineup, only one change from your lineup. I would have the back line as Garcia and Araujo in central defense. Balde and Dest as fullbacks, and midfield and front three remains the same. So I would have both the La Masia players as the central defense for me, Araujo and Garcia. The rest, and I also agree with you that in place of Gavi, we might see Coutinho coming on as a sub. We might see Coutinho start also, but I would rather have Gavi start in that Pedri role. And yeah, so that's for me. And 2-0 for us.
Okay, so Thomas, what about you?
I think I'm gonna talk about this in Koeman's perspective and what he would start. Most likely lineup is going to be obviously keeper's going to be Ter Stegen, and the left back, I think, according to Gabriel Sanz, Balde is the current favourite. Just of right now, Balde is the current favourite to be left back. My centre back pairing, and I think Koeman's preference would be PK and Araujo, and obviously right back is going to be Serginho Dest. The midfield, in the single pivot, I think it's going to be Sergio Busquets with Frankie De Jong on the other side of the midfield. With Koeman, I think he most likely would start Sergio Roberto, but I would want to see Ricky Puig or maybe even Gavi play in the attack. Koeman, just like it said, it's most likely going to be Coutinho, Luke De Jong, and Memphis Depay. And honestly, I do not want. Maybe Luke can start because we're playing in a 4-2-3, so the system and how we're going to play is going to be much more different. So I guess Luke will come in a bit more handy. But obviously I do not want him to be there, so I'd like to have Demir instead of him, and putting Memphis in the centre, or maybe even Coutinho. So, and match prediction for me, I think we'll win 2-0. Like Bulkid said, keep a clean sheet, hopefully, and I think 2-0 win for us.
Okay, so yeah, a very optimistic outlook for all three of us for the Granada match. So that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. We will see you again on the night of the match, during the match, in our live watch along. Don't forget to join us there. So yes, we're gonna head out for this episode, and we will see you soon. Forza Barça, Vica el Barça. Thank you for joining us.